to battle for us, beat the Nazis. And these aircraft, thankfully, are not hanging up in a museum where you've got to go inside and see them. The Royal Air Force at Coningsby do a fantastic job in keeping this fleet of aircraft flying throughout the UK, and they did a great job yesterday. Again, huge thanks to them yesterday. We had some pretty nasty weather, and they held off until the end of the day, and they finally came and closed the show. So I've just heard on the radio, they've been given the radio brief and they're moving in. They're going to come in from the crowd right. Also, if you want to know more about the Lancaster and the Spitfire, the Battle of Britain Memorial Flight have their very own tent. It's down here right in front of the tower. It's a black tent. They've just got a new car as well. And we've got to say a big thank you to the sponsors, to LC Vehicle Hire, who have provided the Royal Air Force Battle of Britain. This is one of only 2 Lancasters remaining airworthy in the world. It was built near the end of the war in May of '45, and by the end of the war it ended in Europe, but it was still going on in Japan, so they fitted it out to go to the Tiger Force, and they were about to ship it off to help in the Far East, but then that conflict ended as well, so it ended up staying back in the UK, went into storage with just 3 hours and 10 minutes on the airframe, so it was practically brand new. And then in September of 48 to 52, after conversion to a PR standard, it conducted aerial survey mapping work in East and South Africa with 82 Squadron. They racked up about 2,000 hours, which is still not a lot of hours on a big airframe like this, before it came back to the UK. And then it went out to work, do some commercial work with Flight Refueling Limited. Memorial Flight Club offers that for you. You can become a member on them. Go see the guys at memorialflightclub.com. The BBMF needs your support, and funds raised by the club directly support many of the flight's projects and activities. But for right now, ladies and gentlemen, let's just listen to the sounds of these 6 Merlin aircraft with these 3 historic aircraft coming through. And remember, the young men and women that gave so much for our freedom. Position themselves to come back around. They're going to stay in this formation for a while. Then the 2 fighters will break from the bomber and do a tail chase amongst themselves. Then the bomber, the Lancaster, will come back in by itself. But for right now, let's soak up the atmosphere of these 1 Griffin, 5 Merlin engines.
It's just right there,
So the very distinctive Hurricane you see there in the all black, that is the last Hurricane that was ever built. There was about 14,533 built, and this one rolled off the Hawker production line in Langley and Bucks in July of 1944. And inscribed on the airframe is the last of the many. It's got it on its port and starboard side. Now, obviously people knew this was an important aircraft, and they were very keen to make sure it didn't disappear. So Hawker purchased the aircraft back from the Air Ministry, and they kept it in storage at Langley. In 1950, the aircraft was entered into the King's Cup Air Race by Her Royal Highness Princess Margaret, and it was flown by none other than Group Captain Peter Townsend, and he achieved second place in this aircraft. So there you heard the commanding officer flying the Lancaster telling the fighters to brake. They'll come back in as the Lancaster moves off to the right. As I said, this Hurricane was then raced by Peter Townsend, where he got second place in the King's Cup Air Race. During 1960s, the PZ was returned to its original wartime camouflage scheme. Made a lot of flying displays at air shows in the hand of the famous fighter and test pilot Bill Bedford. It's also appeared in the Battle of Britain, and I don't think there's many people here that have not seen the Battle of Britain memorial, the Battle of Britain movie, because it's a bit of a staple for everyone that goes to air shows. So it's a movie star. In March of '72, after a complete overhaul, PZ-865 was flown to Cotteshall, and there it was presented by Hawker Siddeley to the Battle of Britain memorial flight. So get your cameras ready as the aircraft are coming in straight ahead of us. Crowd center, the Hawker Hurricane and the Mark 19 Spitfire. PZ-865 currently appears, as I said, in an all-black night fighter color scheme, replicating the Hurricane Mark 2C. The aircraft was BE-634. It was with 247 Squadron. The squadron's Hurricanes were used primarily for night air defense at Plymouth, and also down in Exeter in the west of the country, and also for night intruder operations against targets in northwestern France. The leading Hurricane is the Spitfire Mark 19 PM631. It's thought to have been built back in Reading and was delivered to Southampton in May of '44. It was used for tests, although it did not see operational service. It pretty much represents the similar high-altitude photo reconnaissance Spitfires, which did. They were unarmed, of course. They could fly at 370 miles an hour. So the main armament was actually speed. They'd fly up to 40,000 feet. They had a fully pressurized cockpit and a range of about 1,500 miles. Could cover vast swathes of northern France, where they did amazing work preparing for the D-Day invasions. The Spitfire was the satellite of the day. Without them, there would be no intelligence. You wouldn't know where the battle groups were. You wouldn't know what sort of defenses you'd be going into. And without these very, very fast aircraft flown by very brave pilots in difficult conditions, 40,000 feet is not a place you want to be with in a piston engine if you can help it. Valuable data was brought back. May of 49, it was issued to 203 Advanced Flying School, and there it was modified for meteorological work. She was flown by civilian pilots with the temperatures, humidity and monitoring flight. That was based out of Houghton Park and Woodvale, and they regularly went up to 30,000 feet every day in this aircraft. In 57, PM631 was flown to Biggin Hill from Duxford. By World War II Fighter Ace Group Captain Jamie Rankin, and in formation with another flight of Mark 19s, which was PS853 and PS915, to form the historical aircraft flight, which later evolved into BBMF. So the fighters just letting know the Lancaster, they see them. You got that on video. Spitfire and a Hurricane rolling over the top with a Lancaster underneath, and a beautiful sunny day in Blackpool. It could not be any better. Lancaster letting us know the speed, so the aircraft, when they come to catch up with them on the way back, will be able to match their speed. As I said earlier, this aircraft served with Flight Refueling Limited, and then it went on to Cranfield in 1954, where she was modified as a platform for testing experimental aerofoil sections. In April of '64, it was adopted by the Air Historical Branch for static display originally at the RAF Museum. She was flown to Henlow for storage to await the opening of the museum. And then in '65, the CO of 44 Squadron, that was the first ever unit equipped with Lancasters, and at that time it was flying Vulcans, gained permission for 474 to be transferred to the care of the squadron. And after inspecting it, they said, wow, this is in really good condition. It's like new inside. And it was allowed to fly over there. It then got refurbished, joined the Battle of Britain Memorial Flight in 1973. Initially at Collishaw, before the flight moved to Coningsby in '76, and still living there today, happily. PA 474 was officially adopted by the city of Lincoln in 1975, and permission was granted for the aircraft to display the coat of arms and the name of the city on the nose, which it always does. It does sometimes adjust the colour schemes that it wears, representing other aircraft, but the city of Lincoln always stays on the nose. PA 474 at the moment is painted on the port side as Lancaster Bill. Lancaster Bill was the nose art depicting a kangaroo in Wellington boots playing bagpipes, representing the mixed nationalities that flew the aircraft, the Scottish, the Australian and the Welsh. And that was its crew at the time. 505 flew 51 ops with 460 Squadron, Royal Australian Air Force, from Binbrook, and then it was transferred over to 550 Squadron at North Killinghome. And then on the other side, on the starboard side, it wears the colours of 50 Squadron for the code letters VN by VNT. These are the code letters of the aircraft in which Flying Officer Dougie Milken flew 27 missions, but in total Dougie Milken did 35 ops on his tour with 50 Squadron. So can you hear the fighter pilots calling out that they're clear? Obviously the bomber pilots can't see them because they're trailing behind underneath, so now they'll pop up beside them near line abreast. I cannot recommend enough thinking about joining this official club for the Royal Air Force Memorial Flight. You can get membership in the club for just £30 for a whole year, and those funds go directly in keeping these aircraft flying. In return for your support, you'll become part of BBMF's own special club that takes you to the heart of the action. You'll receive high-quality glossy magazines each year. The club magazine features stunning images, behind-the-scenes interviews. You can also sign up to get a monthly interview, and are entitled to free tours of BBMF's hangar via the BBMF Visitor Centre. Now that's worth it on its own. Now. Ladies and gentlemen, the Battle of Britain Memorial Flight, final pass. The BBMF regroup behind us. They're going to head back towards Coningsby, and a huge thanks again for yesterday and today, and what an opening. What an opening. Typhoon, then BBMF. Fantastic work by our airshow director, our flying display director, Rod Dean, who's here today with his FCC crew, and we'll talk more about them later on. Really, really nice show. So coming up next, we're going from the best of British to the best that Romania has to offer in the form of the Yakovlevs, the Yak 52 and the Yak 18. They are going to be running in very shortly.